Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Invisible Condition. It's not all in your head, by the way. I'm your host, Jeff Pearson, and we want everybody with an invisible condition to know, beyond the shadow of a doubt, that you do have a voice, you do have a community, and you are not alone. And to that end, I am so excited for I'm so excited for our guests today. It's going to be so fun. By the way, before we get there, I'm like baffled. This is our season finale of season 2. This is our last show of season 2. We are going to be entering season 3. I'm completely baffled and humbled and thankful. And thank you for being here through 2 seasons of this show and being loyal viewers and we love you, and we could not do this without you. So thank you. This has been so awesome. I am so excited for many seasons to come. So, all right. So let's kick this bad boy off here. Frequently we ask guests to share about the amazing goals and accomplishments while they're still enduring the symptoms of a condition. But what if you didn't even have to live with those symptoms? Everybody we talk to on the show is like, oh, I'm living with this, I'm living with that. But what if you didn't have to? Crazy thought. Stick with me here. I'm super excited to introduce you to Michal LeBaron. She describes battling through years of she went through misdiagnosis after misdiagnosis and uncertainty and just craziness. And then even with autoimmune things, she lived several more years requiring weekly chiropractic, massage, tons of products, supplement, all the things. Everybody's done it, right? Everybody takes the supplements, everybody does the things because it's like, well, this is helping me. She finally figured out, well, it's unhealthy. I'm unhealthy. That's the problem. It's not, and so with a trusted mentor, she finally found true, genuine health without the need for restrictive diets, supplements, ongoing therapies, all the things. And this is going to be really cool. I can't wait for you guys to hear from her. Now, as a leading figure in functional medicine, which I love that field, Michal and her team at Chronic Illness Solution, keyword there, Solution, offer a groundbreaking approach focused on addressing the root cause, which is kind of important. The root cause is the good stuff. So here we go. All right, let's bring Michal on here. Oh my gosh. Good morning, Michal. Thank you so much for being here.
Good morning. I'm so grateful. And it always touches my heart deeply to share my story because I wish that somebody had shared this with me way sooner. So,
right?
Yes.
Yeah, I hear that a lot, actually, from from all kinds of people with all kinds of stories. It's like, man, I wish we could set back the clock, right?
Yes.
Um, well, I'm so glad you're here, and we're definitely going to have you share about your health journey. But first, can you just walk us through kind of like we're going to get to the solution part first, but just walk us through that the journey with the chronic illnesses that like led you to that point of okay,
Yes.
that's enough, you know.
Yep. Well,
Yeah.
I look back, it's like hindsight's always 2020, and I remember having symptoms as a kid that I just thought was normal, right? It's like, oh, this is just how I am, you know?
Sure.
And it would be like, you know, tummy aches or how I would feel after I ate or just feeling like tired or fat at a time, which was really probably like bloated and just, you know,
Right.
sleep issues. I mean, just so many things that now looking back, I'm like, oh my gosh, those were the warning signs that there was something going on with me. Not that there was a problem with me, but that there was something actually going on with my body that needed attention. So, you know, the doctors always said I was normal. And probably about 11, 12, 13 years old, these symptoms ramped up. And so for a couple years, I'd go through these phases, we would call them, where I would just have extreme pain from head to toe. I had ligament laxity. So I'd be just walking down the road, nothing strenuous, and like my shoulder would pop and it would like
Uh,
pop out of alignment. And so it would be so painful. So I'd like go to the chiropractor and he'd like put everything back together and then it wouldn't hold. And then I'd sneeze and, you know, 3 to 4 ribs would like pop out of joint. Things like this, like just weird stuff. And then the hormone stuff and then the headaches on and off. And I mean, I could just keep going, right? Like, you know, and then my skin did this. And then, you know, it was
right.
like my symptoms ranged from A to Z. And so we would go to the doctor and my lab tests would be normal, even though now I know they didn't really test everything because I was so young and whatever, you know. So no, they couldn't diagnose me with a disease. That didn't mean I was normal. But I had so much stuff. And so for a few years on and off, I would stay home and not really do school for like a month at a time. And then I'd magically get better. And so, yay, I'm better. And so one of these times one month became 2, became 3, became 4, became 2 years. And it just got so worse. I was essentially bedridden for that time. And that's when, you know, we were like trying everything and, you know, seeking alternatives and went to the chiropractor who cut off a lock of my hair to test me for heavy metals. Like, you know, we were just
Oh my
doing
gosh.
as much as we could, which I did have our high heavy levels of heavy metals. But, you know, I mean, we were just trying everything that we possibly could. And in the meantime, my body was like shutting down. It was very scary. My
Yeah.
intestines were so inflamed. They would, you know, kind of be sticky and in kind of like a ball altogether. My kidneys were not well. My heart would have weird things happen. My brain was so inflamed. I remember in the heart of it, like my mom looked at me and said something to me. And I just remember thinking, wow, that sounds like Egyptian or something. I was like, what? Like I couldn't make out what she was saying. I just had so much inflammation in my body. And I think the scariest part is not knowing. It's like, okay, even if it's cancer, even if it's leukemia, even if it's like whatever my worst fear is, I would rather know what it is than not know.
Yes.
And so, you know, for me, it was just a mystery. And it was crazy that it wasn't just one symptom, it was so many different ones. And so, you know, what I started doing, some of it worked some of the time, and some of what made me feel better should have made me feel better, made me feel worse. And some of the things that should have been toxic poisonous to me, like sugar, I'm like, oh my God, I finally feel better. So it was just crazy and confusing, and I hated it. So that's a
Well,
glimpse.
well, thank you for that terrifying glimpse. Yeah, that's crazy. No, and it is true. You go to well, and when you that's the other thing when you go to so many different people and get so many different uh pieces of advice or whatever, you know, so many people tell you so many different things. It's just that in itself is overwhelming, and
Yes.
that can just blow you out of the water. So, and then I mean, I'm glad you didn't give up though, because that's where people usually go. fine. I'm out. I'll just
Yes.
deal with it because I can't deal with all these different people coming from me in all these directions. So,
Yes.
yeah. So
I
kudos
remember,
to you
it's
for
funny you
pushing
bring that
through.
up because I do remember I would sit in a recliner. My mom would help me walk outside, like as an early teenager, right? She describes me, it was like caretaking a 90-year-old woman. That's how she described me. She'd help me walk outside and sit in the sun, and then she'd help me walk and like go to bed. And then she'd help me get in and out of the bathtub. So it was like very challenging. And I do feel like I gave up for a time. Just it was overwhelming. And, my dad would come home and he'd ask how I was every day. And I remember telling him, please don't ask me anymore, because it just breaks my heart to say, no, I'm not better. And
Yeah.
no, I'm not better. And what's so interesting is, people ask me like, well, like, how did you keep going, or how did you heal? And I thought about it one time, and this memory came up where I was sitting in that recliner I sat in for years. And I just made a decision. I'm going to heal. Like, period. I don't care what it takes. I'm picking up the torch, and whatever it takes, I'm going to heal. And that's it. But period. And I can't explain it other than it was that internal drive of like, I'm going to. And a lot of events unfolded after that. Of course, it was a journey, but I think we all have to have that inner willingness to not give up.
Oh, yeah. That's exactly right. And I can relate to that. There's been a couple times over the years where it's like, okay, nope, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
We're gonna push forward and we're not gonna give up. So yeah, sometimes you have to do that. Yeah, totally. And let me just throw this out here to the audience that is watching. Thank you for being here, and if you have any questions as throughout the show, I mean, I know it's starting off a little mysterious, like what the heck are we talking about? As the show goes on, if you have questions about anything, if you're sick of symptom management and you want to actually be well, or you hear something that sparks like, oh yeah, that sounds familiar. I wonder about that. Reach out to Michal, because you have the best person to ask those questions is right here, right
Thank you.
there. So so reach out, please, through Facebook.
Yes.
If you're watching on Facebook, if you're watching on YouTube, if you know, there's always an email for me on the show info. We're going to put contact information up here for Michal here. So yeah, we want to make sure that everybody can reach you. So so yeah, tell me more. I mean, yeah, what was next?
Yes. Well, and I love how it's like, where's this going? I think you already said it. So, spoiler alert, I'm fully healthy,
Yeah,
and
right.
there's no
Yeah,
sign of any of the things that were permanent, that were supposed to be permanent, that we found out. And I don't think I would have believed that before now, but I'm living it, and I've been living it for years. So the next thing, really there were two things that kind of opened the door to figuring out some answers. And one of them was functional medicine. And so that was so eye-opening to me to realize that regular doctors don't hardly test for anything. And so even most people that I talk to, they're like, oh, my doctor already tested me for everything, tons of stuff. I'm like, well, I don't believe it until I see it with my own eyes, because I have never seen a regular doctor actually run a thorough panel on anybody. And so
yeah.
I have story after story about that. But just for me, there was actually my genetic liver condition, or gallbladder condition, Gilbert's syndrome. It actually had shown up in my blood work ever since I was a baby. And I would have phases where I had all the symptoms of it, including being jaundice, meaning yellow skin, yellow eyes, like a liver problem. And so no doctor ever talked to me about this. And in the US, as I was doing my research, I found out, because it's like, well, why not? That's crazy. I even have something in my tests and they still don't tell me about it. Well, in the US, it's benign and there's no meds for it. And so there's no reason to inform your patient of it, I guess. But so many of my symptoms fit that particular condition. And the research is out there. When I started looking into, studies and articles and research, tons of other countries have entire protocols about this condition. And they specifically say, here's all the symptoms that these people have. Oh my God, that was me. Here's the things that makes them worse. Here's the things that makes them better. Here's the, things that they can do. So in functional medicine, of course, nothing is ignored. And so it was like, oh, well, why don't we start addressing that? Through more research, I figured I had an autoimmune disease of some kind because it really seemed to fit the whole
Yeah.
mysterious weirdness I was going through. And so, most doctors don't test for that. If they do, they might run 1 or 2 tests. So I found a company and a panel that ran like 30 to 40 different tests. Just let's look at everything, right?
Yeah.
And sure enough, there it was. So it was like, aha, mystery solved. Like one more checkbox, mystery solved. Yes, I have an autoimmune disease. And what my immune system was attacking was actually my blood vessels. And so it began to make sense of why I had so many different symptoms from A to Z, and none of them made sense because your blood vessels are everywhere. So depending on where they're being attacked, that's going to cause, symptoms in that particular area. So, from this time, there was this deep truth that emerged, which is there is no mystery. If you don't give up and you find the right tests and you know what to look for and you don't give up, you can actually find what's not working in the body and make complete sense of your symptoms. So that was incredibly hopeful for me, because that's where it was like, okay, now there's not blind hope. Now there's like, scientific hope.
And once you figure that out, then it gives you a whole new sense of hope, because it's like, okay, now we've got a name for it. We've got we've narrowed it down. That's half the battle. I mean, there's been people that have taken 10, 12, 15 years to narrow down what the heck is this, and they finally figure it out. So
so then I had a whole host of things because I got good knowing how to figure it out. So from blood sugar imbalances, infection like bacterial overgrowth, food sensitivities, tons of them, and they would cause anaphylactic reactions once I figured out, oh, I'm having hives and oh, my breathing issues and whatever. And leaky gut. And I mean, I just A to Z. But then I couldn't digest my food properly. And then I had nutrient imbalances. I mean, you just name it. And in functional medicine, this is pretty normal for those who don't know. You really find every little thing that's not working. And so I started addressing every little thing that's not working. And I will tell you, it got me from bedridden to seemingly normal. And seemingly is a big fat word there, because the amount of things I had to do to seem normal was outrageous, so then I was like reacting to chemicals. And so I had an air purifier and all natural products and a water purifier, but not reverse osmosis because that takes too many minerals out. It had to be a certain kind that left the minerals in. I mean, for over a decade, this was my life of research, trying new techniques and modalities, getting certified in them. I mean, it's like, and so I micromanaged my life in order to function. And I'm so grateful that I had tools to do that, because I wasn't bedridden and suffering, but it still created a lot of stress. And every time I did flare up, because it was a lot, a symptom would get worse or come back or whatever, supplement would stop working and I'd have to find out a new thing to do for it. It's kind of like having PTSD. Like every time it stopped working or every time something changed or every time a new symptom came up, then I was right back to, oh my God, what's wrong? And is it cancer now? And then what is it? And how long before I find the next tool to fix it? And, am I going to have to quit my job? And am I going to go back to being bedridden? Just all those fears came back. And I think that's anybody with chronic illness that's a mystery knows what I'm talking about, because
even when the chronic condition is not a mystery, we still feel some of those things. I still feel those fears sometimes. Mine comes from oh my gosh, what's that headache for? Is that gonna result in another surgery? Is that gonna result in am I gonna have to go to the hospital? So yeah, I mean, even when you know what it is,
Yeah,
it can be terrifying, and it can really knock you down if you let it. So
totally.
yeah, I totally get it.
Yep.
Totally.
And that's
Yeah.
because still at a deep level, I didn't really understand the root of what was
Mm,
happening. And so I
mhm.
didn't know what was going on in my body. I knew how to manipulate my body, so that was nice. But
Yeah.
still at some level I thought my body was broken. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
I don't know how to really fully control it or fully heal. So I did this for years. I became a functional medicine practitioner, master's in holistic nutrition. I mean, I have tons of certifications in all these different
Yeah.
modalities and things. And so I was helping people, same story as me. They'd go to the Mayo Clinic and not get better, and they'd come to me, and I'd be like, well, you have high Lyme bacteria. Did the Mayo Clinic treat you for that? And they're like, no, because I only had 2 strains and I need 4 to get diagnosed and treated. So they just didn't do anything. So when people used to ask me, well, how are you helping people that like doctors can or the Mayo Clinic can't? It's very simple and obvious when you know what you're looking for.
Yeah.
To me, if you have Lyme bacteria and your immune system's going haywire and it matches all your symptoms, it just seems logical that that's what you should focus on, right? But that's not the box of standard medicine. And so,
Right.
anyway, so I was helping people, but I was noticing that they were on the same roller coaster that I was. We'd all manage our symptoms and then they'd come back and then it would stop working and then we'd change and then we'd go back on our leaky gut diet and then we'd blah, blah, blah. And so, I'm spending, oh gosh, 50, 60 grand over, a decade and a half of just trying everything. And then
Yeah.
once I added it up, just my body work alone was going to be $178,000 for me to keep that up the rest of my life. And that
Well,
didn't include supplements, special foods, all the
huh,
things. So I was like, okay, it was just all starting to add up as I'm popping my 30 herbal pills a day or whatever.
right.
Is this healthy? And I just knew this wasn't the epitome of being healthy. This was actually me being sick. If I had
Yeah.
symptoms to manage with my healthy holistic foods and all of the healthy environmentally friendly things, like if I had to do that to function, I wasn't very functional. And so it really caused me to go searching for, what am I missing? Clearly it's not what I know. I've got, tons of certifications. That didn't get me healthy. Like, so what is it? And in that
Yeah.
process, it led me to a interesting conversation on the nervous system.
Mm.
And I talked to a friend, or an acquaintance really, that I had known for a couple years. And she said she had gotten rid of 5 autoimmune diseases and she was there eating gluten again. And she'd go on Facebook and she'd make these cooking shows of like what new recipe she was trying.
Yeah.
Now, just to show how much we're conditioned, my first thought to myself wasn't, oh my gosh, that's amazing. There's hope for me too.
Yay. Yeah.
It was, yeah, just wait. That's not possible. So I watched her over years waiting for the other ball to drop, because in my training and background, if you have food allergies, that's permanent. If you have autoimmune disease, that's permanent. And even if you go into remission or whatever for a short period of time, it will come back because it's impossible to heal those,
Because
right?
it's hereditary, or it's generational.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
there's a
we're
lot of it out
literally
there.
told they're permanent. We're given
Yeah.
a life sentence, even in functional medicine, even in
Yeah.
holistic health. It's, oh no, it'll never go away, but you can manage it, but you'll be managing it for the rest of your life. So that's the paradigm I was in. So
Yeah.
yeah, I was pretty resigned and cynical.
Sure.
And then
Yeah.
years later, she's healthy and I'm not. So I started getting a critical thinking mind instead. And I started realizing what I was doing wasn't really working. And I said, she's healthy and I'm not. I wonder who's missing something. And so I reached out and I said, please talk to me about what you did. What did you do? And she said, well, It's all about the nervous system, and that she recognized and had to admit to herself how stressed she was, that she lived in survival mode. And as
Mm.
a functional medicine practitioner, we actually had tests for this. So it was not new to me. I said, yes, I already know this. Yes, I already know. I said, every one of our clients who comes in is in the sympathetic nervous system, fight or flight. They're in
Yep.
survival mode. We already know this. There's a name for it, sympathetic dominance. And we have all these exercises that we give them to fix it.
Yeah.
We
To
stimulate
manage
the
it.
vagus nerve by gargling, and we tell them to do deep breathing. We do all of these things, right?
Yeah.
And she said, no, you can't stimulate that for a couple hours. Like, you have to learn to live in the parasympathetic, which is the resting, digesting, growth and repair,
Mm.
peace, harmony system. And when she said, you have to learn to live in the parasympathetic, there was a light bulb moment for me where I said, with all my background and training, I think we're talking about different things. I think what she means by
Yeah.
that phrase is something I have no concept of. And my
Yeah.
training in the nervous system doesn't compare to whatever she's talking about, because
Yeah.
what I know isn't getting people fully healthy. So
Right.
I said, okay, what's that? how do you do that? So I worked with her for a time. I learned a lot of beautiful concepts. I've learned a lot of things since then, but that was a
Yeah.
turning point for me of it was like a paradigm shift of,
Yeah.
if my body can actually heal itself, if I allow it to be in the right state,
Mm.
that is what we're told. And, all of this stuff from my school kind of flooded back into my awareness. One
Yeah.
of them was, oh yeah, the nervous system's job is to monitor everything.
Yeah.
And if there's no imbalances, there's no symptoms, and there's homeostasis, and that's in the parasympathetic nervous system. And
Mm.
if the nervous system detects that there's an imbalance, mentally, emotionally, or physically, then it will work to create a symptom. And I remember that was so profound for me in school. I called my mom and I was like, Mom, listen to this. I reread it like 10 times. And I was like, the nervous system creates our symptoms?
Wow.
Like, we're not told that. I'm like, it's right there in an anatomy and physiology textbook. It was wild. It wasn't holistic. It was literally just anatomy and physiology 101, essentials of anatomy and physiology or something. And I said, that means that our symptoms are intentional. They're not an accident. They're not a mystery. Nothing's broken. And then nobody talked about that. So I just let it go. I just, I didn't
Yeah.
know what to think of it. And, this other thing is, like, we produce billions of new cells every second.
Yeah.
And we're told the body can heal itself. And the digestive system alone only takes about 30 days to replace it with brand new cells.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, oh my God, why does everyone have leaky gut? In functional medicine, everybody has a digestive disorder. It's just a thing. And you go on, you heal your gut and you do all this stuff in functional medicine. And it does help people. But I'm like, well, if that only takes 30 days to get a new digestive system, and therefore immune system, because your immune system is
Yep.
in your digestive system,
Yeah.
why do we have these ongoing autoimmune diseases and digestive disorders? It makes no sense.
Right.
So inside of, and I've now kind of put it all together, it's like, oh, well, if I'm in survival mode
Mm.
and those cells are in survival mode and they're producing baby cells to be in survival mode, not to function optimally, not to repair themselves or repair the body, then I'm going to perpetuate the illness. But if I can get my body in the parasympathetic nervous system, where there's cellular regeneration and repair, our blood flow changes, our brain function changes, our cellular function changes, even our DNA changes, like how we express our genetic behavior and expression and rewrite our genes, like all these DNA changes, like epigenetics,
Yeah.
that changes and they function differently in that system. And so it made sense to me, my gosh, if I can live in the parasympathetic, my body will heal itself and do so rapidly. So 12
Yeah.
and a half weeks later, I know you have a question coming, but
No, go
12 and a
ahead.
half weeks later was it. And
Whoa.
my symptoms were resolved. My lab tests were normal. There's no sign of my genetic issue. There's no sign of my autoimmune disease. There's no sign of my environmental illness or my heavy metals. There's no sign of my food allergies. I can eat anything. That was
Wow.
impossible. And it
Wow.
was just like, okay, okay, this is like the holy grail of healing. Like, this is what I want to be doing with people. So anyway, I want to answer your question, but you had to know the end of the story is, oh
No, no,
my
no.
God, like I was better.
Yeah, no, I love that. That's crazy. Okay, now I have to wait for my brain to stop exploding for a second. But yeah, that's
Me too.
right. Yeah, exactly. Okay, everybody out there too. Now we're gonna because what I actually wanted to do was take a short break between. So we've come this far. We're like, okay, this is what this is what you have dealt with. This is what you have lived through. This is what you've tried and tried and tried and tried and all the things, and now you've found something that actually works. And so I feel like that's a perfect point to say, okay, we're going to go to commercial. And then when we come back, we're going to talk more about that because that's the exciting part, everybody, is what now? Now that you've figured that out, now what? So, and we're going to continue to have your QR code on the screen so that people, as people are hearing this, they can just go, yay, there's hope. Click and
Yes.
get in touch with you. So, all right. So we will be, do not go anywhere. Anybody, you are going to want to hear the second half of this show. It's going to be amazing. Don't go anywhere. Thank you so much for being here, Michal, and we will see you in just a couple of minutes.
In a world where office workers typically receive 130 daily emails and have an 8-second attention span, CoreCentrica, with her 4 decades of international marketing experience, has partnered with the Learning Code Institute and their 30 years of neuroscientific research. Together, we are crafting unique messaging strategies that resonate, connect, and ultimately convert our target audiences. CoreCentrica, where award-winning creativity and disruptive neuroscience come together. Scan this code now, or call and click, and let us show you how CoreCentrica's partnership with the Learning Code Institute is influencing how businesses connect with their audience, foster engagement, and achieve conversions.
The Club eFit Home Portable Gym System is a groundbreaking new system that can help everyone at any fitness level. You can be the happy, fit person you always wanted to be, and Club eFit can make that happen by helping you get the body you deserve in the time you can spare. With workouts ranging from cardio, core, to total body toning, it's easy to get started. Start taking care of you today. To make the change, go to clubefit.com now.
Does your to-do list have you feeling stressed? Does your list include tasks like responding to email and phone calls, collecting forms and paperwork, and sending quotes and invoices? Have you been neglecting posting updates to your social media accounts, email newsletters, or content on your website? Maybe you need help to get digitally organized. I'm Selena, one of the owners at Office Mercenary, and we're a US-based virtual assistant agency. We can take care of all of these tasks and more so you can get back to focusing on the things you love about your business. Our team is happy to work with you and your individual needs. So schedule a call with us, bring your to-do list, and stop doing the tedious tasks.
Hey, how you doing? My name is Greg Russell. I'm the host of TechnologyTuesday.com. You can find us on the Conscious Business TV network every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the latest resources to help you make more money in your business. Join us on E360 TV. Come on.
All right. I'm still, I'm like, I'm so excited to hear the second half now. I'm like, okay, everybody, don't go anywhere. Get what you got to get during the commercial break because you're not going to want to move for the second half. So everybody's good. You're good. You're sitting. You're going to stay. Okay, cool. All right. So, Michal, what in the world did after all of that, you finally, the light bulb went on and you're like, I think I got it. What was it? What did you find out? What was the...
I know, it's like, man, it's, how do I say it in such a simple way? Because gosh, it's a journey. So I might have to come back to tell you all the intricacies. But here's the key.
Too. Yeah.
Here's the key. My body functions optimally and is in 24/7 self-repair mode when I am in the parasympathetic nervous system. And it doesn't. Chronic symptoms, chronic illness only exists if I'm living in the sympathetic nervous system.
Which is the fight, flight, or freeze kind of.
Yep.
Right? The
survival mode. Yes.
Survival mode. Okay.
And I also think as a functional medicine practitioner, I think I assumed that's just the way it was now. I was like, well, isn't everyone in fight or flight mode? And that's just our society. So for me to even believe, I had to go through so many layers of belief, conditioned belief, because for me to even believe it was possible for me to live in the parasympathetic, that took something for me to even think that was possible. Sure. Nonetheless, oh my gosh, and then my body can heal itself, because I had tried everything. I once made a list, and I stopped making the list after I had written 120 different things that I had tried. Modalities, techniques, diets, therapies, blah, 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 blah. I mean, literally, like, I've tried it all, or a very close cousin of it. And, all of it, some of it worked, but it was short term. And then I was reliant upon the tool. So if I had to keep using it. And then that just became an expensive subscription of kind of a Band-Aid tool. So was it really getting me healthy? No. So I love, the second thing that was belief that I had to come to was like, oh my gosh, I can be fully healthy. But what does that even mean? It means I don't require any supplements, diets, management tools. I don't have to avoid anything to avoid symptoms. Like, my body works fully normally. And I will tell you, I did not believe that until I lived it. So up until I was like, it was like layers. I'm like, well, I don't have my symptoms, but I don't know if I'm fully healthy. Oh, my lab test came back normal, but I don't know that I'm fully healthy. Well, maybe I'll start weaning off my supplements. Oh, that went okay, but I don't know that I'm fully healthy. It's like I was like hanging on to the, like, I don't know if I'm healthy. But then it was like slowly like, oh my God, I'm healthy. And I don't react to that, and I can eat that, and I'm off my supplements, and there are no symptoms, and my tests are still normal, and it's still normal, and I'm still healthy. And so, you won't believe it until you're living it. Yeah. But that really is the paradigm, is my body can heal itself. And so what I like to say is, because in functional medicine, we always talk, what's the root cause, right?
Yeah.
And that's out there in a lot of holistic circles.
Sure.
But the root cause that I was always told was like, oh, leaky gut, or oh, food sensitivities, or oh, you don't digest your proteins well.
It's still something that you're doing or not doing, or your body is inherently not doing, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, wait, isn't that just another symptom? Like, but why do I have leaky gut, or but why do I have food allergies? Because that's not normal. So logically, in my own mind, nobody asked me that, but in my own mind, I started questioning everything. And that was one of them, is that really the root cause? But like, or what caused that? And it really led me to this nervous system component. And I like to say it's the root of every root cause. It's the root of every imbalance in the body. When my body's living in the parasympathetic, everything's working normal. And if it's working normally, symptoms go away. And so the most exciting thing I found since doing this work with clients and building our own program kind of around these principles is that, it really takes about 3 to 5 months, regardless of the illness or condition. And that, again, that would have sounded nuts and insane and crazy to me, and I wouldn't have believed it. Because of all
it seems so short, it's like,
it
seriously, I'm I'm almost 50 years old. I've been living with this thing for, right? There's like,
Decades.
you hear it all the time. I've been living with this and this and this and this, you know, down the laundry list of whatever for my whole life. I was told it was hereditary. I was told it was because of this or because of that. But my favorite thing that I've heard about similar people that I've had on the show that talk about this type of thing, and I know that this is totally different, and so we're going to get into that. But the one person years ago told me this, and it's my favorite way to put it is you're not depressed because you have a Zoloft deficiency in your system. That's not the problem. You know, Zoloft is not going to fix you. It's going to put a Band-Aid on a symptom that's really showcasing a root cause that you're just totally ignoring.
Yes.
And so, so it's...
Well, and to me, it did sound crazy. However, I have a very sciencey, logical mind. My father was a judge growing up, so very black and white, and it has to be, you know, by the book. So anyway, that rubbed off on me a little bit. I'm very analytical, very skeptical, so I love working with those people too. But it did make sense to me. Okay, I'm doing all of these techniques, modalities, I'm taking supplements, I'm eating special food, blah, blah, blah. And that's helping some of the time, a little bit. It's giving me some symptom relief, we'll say that. But if that's only stimulating my body for a few minutes to a few hours to a few days, maybe a few weeks, if I could get the body in a self-repair state 24/7, that's better than any technique, modality, supplement, diet, pill, herb, whatever. You know, special bioenergetic mat, which I love those. But it's like, it's better than anything that I could put on the body. If I can get it to heal itself from the inside out and stay there for like 24/7, of course I'm going to heal much more rapidly than whatever I've experienced from an external tool or modality.
Because it's whatever inside.
And my nervous system knows what's wrong, so I don't have to guess. And when we're giving diet, supplements, whatever, we are guessing about what support the body needs. We have some ways to be more pretty accurate with that. However, there's no guesswork when you're leaving it up to the nervous system. So the parasympathetic doesn't discriminate wherever it needs repair the most, wherever it needs, oh, I need energy to detox because I'm detoxing now. So I used to think, oh my gosh, talking about beliefs, I'm like, oh, it's the heavy metals, it's the toxicity in the environment, it's our food quality, the GMOs. I found all these things to blame. It's the plastics, you know, it's all this stuff, right? And that's the problem. And so we're going to try to avoid all that. Well, nowadays I can eat GMOs and have no reactions. So it's wild. It's like, so is the GMO the problem, or was my inability to digest, metabolize, detox, eliminate those things? Not that I'm saying, oh yeah, eat GMOs, but it's like my body is resilient enough that I can handle that without any problems. Just like other people that don't have chronic illness and they can eat that stuff. You know what I mean? And it's like, so if they can eat that and not get sick, is it really the toxin, the gluten, the whatever it is? Or is it the person's system's inability? So now my detox systems are working all the time. I can have smelly shampoo and regular deodorant, and I can like drink regular tap water if I need to and have no problems. And that's so huge for me. So I just love saying, you know, your body, gosh, it's marvelous if we just allow it to be in the state that it can function optimally.
Well, 100%. You're absolutely right. And it's funny because what you just said there, it's like, okay, now, so you're in a parasympathetic, and now it's even easier because you don't have the worries of, oh my gosh, I just ate gluten, I'm gonna have a tummy ache, or I'm gonna, you know, I have to drink this special water, or I have to do, and so it almost like perpetuates that parasympathetic mode, right? Is that what you're?
Yes, it does. It's an oxymoron because everything we do to manage symptoms adds stress. And there's the vicious cycle. And there's one more thing that it does. I feel to share a a story that there was a brilliant German doctor, and there's so many, this is in the science now. It's out there. We as lay people are just not being taught. And in my experience, we get little pieces of it here and there, but no way to actually practically apply this. Like a lot of my clients say, oh, I've researched that. Oh, I've heard that concept. Oh, I've tried that, but it's not working. And then they work with us, and it's like, oh man, I was missing how to apply it and get my body to actually do it.
Well, I think that's because I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt you, but I think part of the reason that mystery is there is because let's just get this out of the way. Regular medical professionals they call it practicing medicine for a reason. And if they give you all the tools that you need to actually get well, then they lose a patient or they lose a customer, or however you want to put it. They feel like they can't perpetuate their business then. And so they almost have to, it's like they have to come to me, because if I give them everything, then they won't come back.
Yes.
And it's kind of infuriating, honestly. It's
Yes.
like, do you want us to be healthy or not?
Yes.
And so I'm so glad that you're just like, here it is, everybody. Here you go. Come on, do it. So
Yes.
yeah, I'm sorry. I just had to point that out because it's so, especially in this country. I don't know about other countries around the world. Maybe it's a little better in other countries, but in the United States, it's very, very much, do what your doctor says and keep going back to them because they've got the answers. And it's not always true. Not always true. So
I know.
Anyway, so
Yes.
thank you for being this is awesome.
You're welcome. We have our on that note, our marketing. We've worked with several marketing professionals because it's like, how do we get this out and communicate it in a way, right? How do we get the word out?
I believe it.
And all of them pretty much are mad at us, and they say, it's not sustainable. What are you doing? You can't run business this way. And I just tell them, then you're not my marketing person. I'm sorry, I'm doing it the way we're doing it. There's plenty of people that are sick in the world. I'm really not worried about running out of sick people to help.
Nope.
And if I do, then great. We've reached our mission, and we'll start a different business on something fun, something else. But I refuse to follow their models because would I want to be stuck in that model? No, I want to be fully healthy, and I want to have that independently. So, so thank you for bringing that out. And I remember it was very disappointing for me when I realized it's not just the regular medicine and the regular doctors that's true of. Holistic is not much different. They might have more holistic remedies or products or supplements there, so it's not meds, and that might be better, but it's still the subscription model. And I hear all the time, well, let's try this or let's try that. Or again, it's like, do you really have that herb deficiency, or is that still a Band-Aid? And that was a huge punch to the gut for me, because that was pretty much what we were doing in functional medicine. And I had to admit to everybody, I'm so sorry, but this is Band-Aiding the problem. This isn't getting to the root cause. And so I can't do that anymore. So anyway.
That's a big deal. That's a big deal to realize that and actually take that step. So yeah.
Yep. So there's tons of stuff out there. Cellular biologists are proving this. This stuff is out there, but I feel to share one story. There was a German doctor who got cancer 3 months after his son died in a freak accident, totally unexpected. And he logically thought to himself, he started questioning the system. And he said, I know this has to do with this stressful, event that would throw anybody into survival mode. So he started asking his cancer patients, out of curiosity, about 3 months before your diagnosis, did you have an unexpected or shocking or some type of challenging life event? Yeah. When all of them said yes to the 3-month time frame, he said there's something to this, obviously. He started doing brain scans and MRIs and documenting everything, taking case histories. And what he found was amazing. There was a lesion, kind of like a ring or a circle, detectable on their brain scans, every single one of them. And wherever the brain scan showed up on the brain, it matched where they developed cancer. So, for example, all the people with cancer in their stomach had the lesion in the same place on their brain with 100% accuracy. Here's the crazy part. As he started documenting these people and developing his work, with over 40,000 case studies, he published his work. And 40 of his colleagues duplicated those studies with 100% accuracy. So now we're over 1 million. He discovered that everyone with the same location of lesion on their brain, and therefore cancer in their body, had the same kind of life event 3 months prior. And that was shocking because science is now proving what we're talking about. And so he did tons of work inside of how the nervous system works and the cellular changes that we make in our body the moment we go into a conflict or a stressed state. We start a biological survival program. And however we're perceiving life and the way that our body thinks we need to survive, that's the cellular changes that are going to take place. And so the crazy part is that he showed that when symptoms usually first show up, the ones we're all like, oh my God, something's wrong, that's actually the body trying to heal itself from those cellular changes that took place in the stressed state. And so what happens when we are suppressing symptoms, managing symptoms, taking all these remedies to manipulate our body, we're actually interrupting its nervous system process, and we're interrupting what the body's trying to do. And so we throw it back into a survival state. And so once again, we're showing how the regular way we're taught to view our body and our health is actually it's the sabotage to actually allowing the body to heal. So this information is so helpful for us because we can identify and help people discover what was going on in life 3 to 6 months prior to the onset of your chronic disease or illness or symptom. What didn't you cope with? And what is still happening in the body that's making it think it still needs to survive. And as soon as we have clarity on that, which usually takes about one conversation, by the way, and we do that away too. We do that as part of our free consult because we want people to know why they're sick and to be able to make informed, conscious choices of how they want to heal, whether it's us or not. And so once there's clarity to all that, the mystery is gone. And we know exactly what we need to do to get the nervous system into the state of the parasympathetic and to heal it. So I just love this stuff.
Love it. That is so crazy. I'm sorry. I wish we had another hour. We do have to come back. You've got to come back and talk.
I will.
We will. We'll do this because it might not be for a little while, but I want to bring you back as soon as humanly possible because we have to continue this story. It's not over. It's not over, but unfortunately the show is almost over. So we have about 2 minutes left. So how we've had this QR code here. What's the easiest way for people to get in touch with you?
Thank you so much. So the best way is on our website, and you can schedule a free consult directly there. And we also right now are gifting 2 nervous system processes so that people can experience it themselves. This also allows us to know, is their nervous system healthy enough and responsive enough to do this work? Because that's very important to us to know that it's going to work. So that's chronicillnesssolution.com/apply if you want to find our schedule, or you can just go to the website and find it there. We've got lots of stories. Every one of our practitioners on our team has actually healed themselves through this work and then trained to be able to teach it. So we've got some amazing stories of people that were given 3 months to live and now are healthy 6 years later. It's just like amazing. So definitely that's the best way to get in touch with us. And just, we'll do a medical health history review and help you experience the nervous system work. So, if it's going to work and then we'll see if it's a good fit.
Amazing. I think we just found what we're going to talk about in the next show. We're going to talk, we'll recap a little bit the beginning, and then we're just going to tell stories.
I love it. Yes,
That's what we
totally
should
happy
do.
to.
We'll just do that. Everybody just tune in and we'll just blow your mind completely away with stories of all these amazing people that have healed themselves, you know? So,
Yes.
yeah. So, well, thank you, Michal. I am so grateful that we were able to do this when we were able to do it. I'm so thankful for you and for what you're doing, and just keep up the good work. Don't go anywhere though. When we close out the show, I want to come back and talk to you after. So don't go too far, but I will, we'll get this on the books again for another shows, but thank you so much.
Yes, thank you, everybody. And it is possible to heal. And I hope everybody knows that.
Thank you. Oh my gosh. Okay. I wish we had 3 more hours. We got to do it. We should just do a whole, yeah, we'll just sit here all day and just answer questions. You got, but anyway, okay, everybody. I promise we'll do another show with her. So don't worry. Reach out to her, get that free consult, and get going. It's going to be awesome. So thank you so much for being here. I'm so grateful that you're here and that you're watching. And if you have a favorite episode, by the way, if you've been watching for a while, thank you. If you're new, thank you. If you have a favorite episode, if this is your new favorite episode, share it, because that's the only way everybody else is going to see it. Talk to people about it, share it out on your social media, and we will see you for the kickoff of season 3 on Tuesday, April 2nd. And until then, have an amazing day, and we will see you soon. Have an awesome day.